Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 Year. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is May 2nd. And so, what we do here is we listen to the daily selection of what is. Uh, my mouth is not awake yet. We listen to the daily selection being read and then just share whatever comes up today around that reading. Um, you're invited to share your perspectives or what catches your attention in the chat. Um, Invited and encouraged to do so. It's always more fun when I get to interact with folks, just like now. Good morning, Gail. And so let's get to it. Here we go.
Reading from May 2nd, Science of Mind, A Philosophy, a Faith, a Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 451, paragraph 2, through page 452, paragraph 1, using inclusive language.
The Seeing Eye, Matthew chapter 13, verse 16. Quote, Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. End quote. What is it the eye should see and the ear hear? Do not all people's eyes see and their ears hear? No, but few indeed, when looking see and listening hear. We are to see that Spirit creates all things by the power of its own word, and that we are spiritual beings. We are to hear that inner voice of truth, which is ever proclaiming the freedom of all life, the eternal unity of God with people. It is useless for those who have never experienced an inner seeing or hearing to deny its reality. A person might as well say there is no meadow because they have never seen one. The world needs spiritual experience as it needs bread and butter. People need spiritual conviction as they need food and drink. And with spiritual convictions come all else. To those who have shall be given. The kingdom and the mustard seed. Matthew chapter 13, verses 31 and 32. Quote, The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. End quote. For a knowledge of mental action, we know that a constructive idea planted or buried in the subjective mind tends to grow into a real condition. Jesus could not have chosen a more comprehensive way to illustrate his point. The kingdom is like leaven, Matthew chapter 13, verse 33. Quote, The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, end quote. We know that thoughts planted in mind have the power to chemicalize opposing ideas and leaven the whole lump of subjectivity. In this way, ideas gradually permeate the mind and influence all thought and action. If the idea is of heaven, it will certainly bring about a heavenly state. So, what's being talked about, what I hear being talked about in each of these examples is just different analogies to demonstrate the way creation works. Um, you know, Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. If we put that, excuse me, if we put that in context, it's talking about seeing clearly, not just seeing, but actually seeing what's there. How many of us are in an environment all the time, but we never take the time to actually see what's in the environment that we're in. Um, I remember um, when I first moved to Santa Rosa, California from Asheville, North Carolina. Uh, I lived there for in an apartment for 3 years, and there was a 30-foot palm tree at the corner of the block. And I'm driving home one day, and 3 years into living in this area, going back and forth, I finally saw the 30-foot palm. And I literally saw it with that sense of, where did that come from? Well, a 30-foot palm tree did not grow in 3 years, right? So it had been there the whole time. I didn't see it. And so, when I read things like this, it's like, what's already there that I'm not seeing? The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. If you have any idea about the mustard seed, it is tiny. I mean, teeny tiny, looks like a little fleck of dirt in your hand. And yet, everything that is needed to grow mustard, to grow a mustard plant that flowers and is harvested to make mustard, everything is contained in that teeny tiny little speck. And so when I understand the elements of these sentences, then I can better grasp what it's actually saying. So the kingdom of heaven, infinite intelligence, that alignment of our awareness with the consciousness that we are, is contained in every teeny tiny element. So we're constantly invited to be present with what is. I know I get caught up in my day to day life, and I forget that what's available right in front of me is the kingdom of heaven. That it's not a place in the clouds that I'm going to move into after I die in this physical realm. That the kingdom of heaven is available to me, in me, through me, as me, 24/7. That it's always been present. That it was born into me. It's born into you. We're surrounded by it. We're in it. Because ultimately, that's all there is the kingdom of heaven. And it's our awareness that shifts it. It's our seeing it. It's our hearing it that shifts it. It's our willingness to be it. I mean, I love this last sentence. If the idea is of heaven, it will certainly bring about a heavenly state. If that's, if we'll just look and listen, then we become aware that all that has ever been here is the kingdom of heaven. All that has ever been here is the infinite intelligence of life. And when we stop getting fixated on the behavior of people, when we let go of our judgments of them, then we actually have a shot. We actually have a chance at seeing who they really are. Now, that is not to say we ignore behaviors. We don't. But I think it behooves us to really use these teachings and these tools to shift out of the human
habit of assigning identities based on behavior. And what do I mean by that? It's if what we're taught is that if somebody tells a lie, they are a liar. Well, that's not the truth of their being. That is the truth of a behavior. It's the accuracy of a behavior. Um, see what Gail has in the chat. I was given a mustard seed when I was 10 years old, a gift I received to remember from where I come from. Beautiful. Our willingness to seek first the kingdom of God, how differently we can, quote, see. Grateful. Absolutely. It's that place of knowing. And so we can experience everything that's happening here on planet Earth with 100% accuracy and still know the truth of one another's beingness. We can acknowledge that everyone, ourselves and everybody, is a divine idea in the mind of creation, that each and every person, everything is a intentional, on purpose, one of a kind, never to be repeated desire of creation to express itself as that thing, as that person. That's the truth of being. And as humans, we have free will, and we have free will in grace. And what do I mean by that? Creation, we are creation in form, right? And the only way creation could expand its experience of itself, could expand itself, is, excuse me, if it gives itself free will. Otherwise, it's just replicating itself. It can't expand. And so it can't condemn itself for choosing, which is what it would be doing. It's why in different readings we'll hear that we are not condemned for our choices. We're condemned by them. We're not punished for them. We're punished by them. But there's no condemnation for making the choice. And we choose and we get feedback from the universe, and sometimes it's an ouch, and so that just informs us to choose again and to choose differently. It's that place where in reciprocity we see and hear, and it's that place where we know that, oh, if this is painful, it's out of alignment with the truth of being. Let me shift and choose again. And it's that process of movement that, imagine that we're out of alignment and we choose and we go this way, and then we choose and we come here, and then we choose and we come here, and eventually we choose and we get in alignment. And then we make another choice and we're slightly off again. Because that's the journey. That's the journey. And I invite you to normalize the journey, right? That place of alignment isn't a destination, it's an experience. Right? It's an experience, because the whole point of creation is to choose, to express. Is to express. And so we're constantly having a desire to express. And so express, receive the feedback, see, hear, know that within you everything already exists for the kingdom of heaven to be your experience. And then choose. Receive the feedback. Choose again. Be the divine portal of expression that you are. Take some risks. Celebrate your experiences and call it living. Right? I will tell you on page 270 of this book, it says that the only thing that matters is that while we live, we live. Do that. Okay, I am feeling complete with that. So let's go into our time of meditation and contemplation. And I will close us with a spiritual mind treatment. Here we go. As I breathe in this breath, I recognize that it is life breathing itself. One power, everywhere present. One substance, energy, consciousness itself, that is the very source of all creation, that is all creation, that triune nature of one mind, law, and form. All aspects, activities, forms, expressions of one substance. And so everything, all of creation, must contain this one, must contain the very substance it is made out of, the attributes of it, the creative process. So each expression of this one is a portal of its activity. Is a center of its expression, is a means through which creation expands itself. Through this experience of desire, through the power of choice, each and every one of us is a place where life expands itself in, through, and as each of us. Never separate from the whole. No place to separate two in one. Nowhere to be other than here. No other time than now. And so right here, right now, I claim and affirm an awakening to the truth of being that recognizes itself. I claim and affirm that the ears and eyes of creation see all of creation. See all that is contained in the mustard seed. See all that is contained in the environment, in the experience, in the present moment. The eyes and the ears see all that is present. In being consciousness and form, we recognize it as the self, the divine self, no longer fooled by condition, no longer fooled by seeking something outside of ourselves. We recognize in awareness, in activity, that there is no outside of one. We release the habit of labeling one another by behavior, and instead recognize that behavior is simply the process of expanding. of acting out a momentary role. And that roles change and actions change. And yet the truth of being, the truth of each being a one of a kind, intentional, on purpose manifestation of life, never meant to be the same as any other manifestation, is holy and perfect. That each is a mustard seed where all of creation lives, moves, and has its being. And there is celebration. That we're all just remembering who we are. We're all just walking each other home. And we do so with kindness and compassion and curiosity and joy. And we hold it all lightly, knowing that perfection is already who we are. And I am grateful. I am grateful for that activity within this creative process, within consciousness that simply acts upon itself, simply receives every idea, and makes it so. And so I know that the ideas expressed in my word have already been made so. Already done. Simply waiting to be noticed, to be experienced. And so I release everything that would in any way obscure my awareness of what is already done. I let go of all doubt. I let go of all resistance. I let go of any distracted hearing and seeing, so that I might see and hear clearly the presence of the infinite. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.